Yo, what's good? Big Z here. My new single called Dirty just came out. If you haven't heard it, here's what it sounds like. I'm going to show you guys exactly how I made it.
We getting dirty tonight. You gotta do it sometimes. We getting dirty tonight. So let's get out of our minds. We getting dirty tonight. We getting dirty tonight.
So you can listen to the full track on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever you use. So I'm just going to go through section by section, starting at the beginning of the track, and just show you guys how I made everything. So here's what the project file looks like. Let's start with this beginning section.
What you thinking? I'm on a roll.
So this piano sound right here I like a lot, and it is a Nexus piano with just a bunch of phaser on it. So it's a Nexus piano called Nexus Grand Piano Soft, and I think it's just one of the stock Nexus sounds that comes with it when you buy Nexus. And without any of the effects, it sounds like this. Then after the processing I put on it, here's what it sounds like. And basically I wanted a really short release time, so instead of the release being normal like this, I turn it all the way down so it'd have no release basically and just stop playing right when the piano chord stops playing. So then I added this Waves Renaissance compressor just to compress the piano some more, and then I added some Serum effects to add some bit crusher and phaser. I like the phaser in the Serum Effects plugin a lot. Just makes everything sound a lot funkier. And then after that I have some OTT, compressing it even more because I want it to be a really heavily compressed piano. Then I have some EQ, just cutting off some lows and highs so it's just right in the middle of the frequency spectrum. And then I have some delay on there just to give it some space in the mix. So yeah, this piano sound pretty much plays throughout the whole verse. I'll show you this violin sound real quick too. Now this is just another Nexus sound. It's in the ROM extension, I believe. Yep, it is. And it's just called 50s Drama Movie. I just turned the built-in reverb and delay off like I usually do with Nexus, and I added all these effects on it. Here's what it sounds like before all that. And then after. Just kind of controlling the sound a little bit with some EQ, and I'm adding some bit crusher to make it sound kind of more retro. Then some OTT to compress it. Here's the EQ I have on there. There's some harsh frequencies around 3000 Hertz. So I use that to clean it up. Then I have some Serum effects, just adding a phaser and a little bit more bit crusher. Then I have a sample delay that's kind of delaying the right side if you're listening in headphones, so it sounds like it's more spread out over the stereo field. Then I just have some delay on there, and then I just have a filter that I automate throughout the track. So those piano chords and stuff are pretty much all that's happening in the first verse.
And then we go in my Bugatti, yeah, we roll up to the party, don't you know, no, I want your body, yeah. We getting dirty tonight. You got.
And then the build-up is kind of just an extension of the verse, except I'm introducing the lead a little bit and filtering it out, and just adding a bunch of drums for the build-up.
Tonight. You gotta do it sometimes. We getting dirty tonight. So let's get out of our minds. We getting dirty tonight. We getting dirty tonight.
So I'll show you guys this funky guitar lead first. It's actually just a sample that I chopped up. Here's what it sounds like by itself. I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see the chops. So the original sample I downloaded off Splice sounds like this. But then I just changed the pitch and the formant and a couple different things and chopped it up to make it fit with my song. So that's the EQ I have on there, just cleaning up the low and high end and some annoying frequencies around 3000 Hertz. Then I'm just adding some reverb and delay, and that's pretty much it for that lead. So let's get to some of the other stuff in the drop. I love putting bass slides like these right before a drop. You might barely be able to hear it because it's kind of in the low end of the frequency spectrum, but how you do that is you just automate the pitch within the MIDI file here. It's like a big pitch bend down 12 semitones. It's kind of just a good way to introduce the bass in the drop. So this bass is a saw bass that I made in Serum, and here's what it sounds like by itself. So in Serum, it is a hypowave over here in oscillator A. And that's kind of the stereo layer right there because it has 4 voices of unison and it's detuned. It's also up an octave from this bass layer right here. And this is like the main bass layer. It's just 2 octaves down, 1 voice of unison, just like a basic saw wave. But when you add in the stereo layer, it makes it sound nice and full. Then I just have this envelope right here affecting the cutoff of the low pass filter, and I also have this LFO just affecting the level of the noise oscillator, just adding some crunch. Then in the effects section, I have a formant filter on there and some tube distortion. Then I have a bunch of external processing on this bass to help it sit a little better in the mix. I have this CLA bass plugin adding some compression, distortion, and chorus. Then I have some EQ. Then I have some multiband compression that is really taming the sub frequencies a lot. And this band right here, it's knocking down a good amount too and compressing that a lot. So without it, it just wouldn't sit in the mix well at all. The subs would be way too high, and this annoying frequency would be kind of popping out. So that just cleaned it up a lot. Then after that, I pretty much just have some filters and like gain plugins that I automate throughout the track. So layer with that bass is this bass layer that I've used, I think, in like my past 2 tracks. Here's what it sounds like. It's just a Nexus layer. And it's just that deep donk bass from Nexus. And I'm just cutting everything off below 400 Hertz with this bass to make room for that main bass. Another thing that I've used in my past couple tracks are these big saw chords here. Here's what they sound like by themselves. And I don't think there's anything wrong with reusing your sounds from your old songs, because that's kind of what gives you a signature style, is reusing your own sounds. So you just have to make sure it doesn't get boring and you keep things interesting. But yeah, I've showed you guys how to make these saw chords before, but I'll go over it real quick. So they're just 2 hypowave tables. This one's an octave up from the other one. And I've got this envelope opening up the cutoff all the way and also opening up this white noise a little bit. over here in the effects section, I just have some dimension expander, some phaser, and chorus. The phaser is what makes it sound really funky. I really like that phaser. Then all the external processing I have is things to kind of help it sit in the mix better. I have like a transient designer on there, just popping up the transients a little bit. Then I have some EQ, cutting out some problem frequencies. So you can see how much cleaner it sounds when I bring that EQ band back in. Then I have some OTT, some bit crusher, some more EQ, I guess, just making a little edits as I go. Then I have some volume shaper because I wanted this to be more sidechain than the rest of my synths. And then I have some multi-band compression, just helping it sit in the mix a little bit better. So on this synth patch, I made sure to make this bend range down here, -7 semitones, and that allowed me to do those cool synth slides sometimes during the drop. Like right here, you'll hear the synth slide. That just helps keep the chords a little more interesting. I really like this fill here. It's a couple different layers. And that's just from a few different samples I found on Splice that I cut up. And the second part of the drop, I just took the lead guitar out, that's right here, and I brought in the violin instead, because he's singing over this part, so I didn't want it to get too overcrowded, even though there's still a lot going on.
The bass is bumping, I'm busting moves, the people jump.
And yeah, I made the snap sound way too loud in the mix, and it's out there on Spotify and Apple Music and stuff, and I wish I could change it, but it's too late now. But for the sake of this video, I'll change it right now.
The bass is bumping, I'm busting moves, the people jumping. I'm with my crew, my boys are buzzing. What else is new? Yeah. And then we go in my Bugatti.
So the second verse is the same piano chords and stuff as the first verse. I just add in a lot more drums and stuff.
Roll up to the party, don't you know?
And underratedly, one of my favorite parts of the song, even though you can barely hear it, is when I take this wood block and pitch it up to transition into the next section. So you can barely hear it in the whole mix, it sounds like this.
We getting dirty tonight.
I just thought that was an awesome transition to use to transition over into the next section. Now in the next build section, I introduce a new pad sound. That's one of my favorite pad sounds, but it's so simple.
Dirty tonight. You gotta do it.
So literally all this sound is in Serum, it's a saw wave with 8 voices of unison, pretty heavily detuned right in the middle here. And to give it some movement, I'm using this LFO and modulating the pan right here of this oscillator. And I have nothing going on in the effects section or with the envelopes or anything. I'm just using this macro right here that's connected to the cutoff of the filter to open and close it. And you can see that automation I added in right here. Kind of just opens up throughout the whole build up. Now I automated the formant on the vocal right here, but I did that in another project, so I can't really show you it.
We getting dirty tonight. We getting dirty tonight. We getting dirty tonight.
the second drop is pretty much the same as the first drop. So there you have it. I showed you how I made the whole song. Hopefully this was helpful to some of you guys out there. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and Spotify below. Comment below what you think about the track. Other than that, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.